Hey, how you doing? This is Trigger, and I'm going to be bringing you another CoD and God video. This one's going to be titled Leadership, but I also want to talk a little bit about materialism and a little bit about Christmas and that kind of thing because, well, Christmas is coming up, and I don't know if I'm going to have another video in time before Christmas comes out, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Christmas, you're probably wondering, what's with all the materialism? What's with all the, the gifts and the shopping and stuff? Well, advertisement in the United States has gone crazy. That's what I know, as far as what they want to do. I mean, pretty soon they'll be having a Halloween Santa, Thanksgiving Santa, a regular Santa, a Valentine's Day Santa, all those kind of Santas. It'll be like that in the future. I'm pretty sure. That's just my guess, but I'm just kind of joking about that. But in any case, the real reason behind a lot of this materialism and stuff, you think it comes around from the pagan times, and they did do celebrations around the pagan times, but even more so, it began initially with the birth of Christ. The word Christmas comes from Christ Mass, I believe. And it began with the birth of Christ and the three wise men, or the three kings that brought the three gifts to Jesus. They brought those gifts to Jesus, and those were somewhat traditions that sort of carried on from then, as far as I can tell. And also with Santa Claus, who was a bishop in the 4th century, brought gifts to children. And one of the famous ones is he brought dowries to 3 girls. Some money. It was like money at the time so they could marry. He brought it to 3 girls so they could get married in secret, I believe. So those are some references to it. I think the most notable one would be the 3 wise men bringing gifts to Jesus, and a tradition that sort of carried on from then. But besides that, getting away from the whole materialism thing and getting into talking about leadership, I've got 3 passages from the Bible that I want to talk to you about and quote, go over and try to help you understand it and help you kind of see what Jesus wants as far as leadership goes and what you can do. So I'm going to start off on Matthew 8:5, and it's the healing of the centurion's servant. Okay, so it starts off, when he entered Capernaum, the centurion approached him and appealed to him, saying, "Lord, my servant is lying at home, paralyzed, suffering dreadfully." He said to him, "I will come and cure him." The centurion said in reply, "Lord, I am not worthy to have you enter under my roof. Only say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I too am a person subject to authority, with soldiers subject to me. And I say to one, 'Go,' and he goes, and to another, 'Come,' and he comes, and to my slave, 'Do this,' and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he was amazed, and said to those following him, "Amen, I say to you, in no one in Israel have I found such faith. I say to you, many will come from the east and the west, and will recline with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob at the banquet in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom will be driven out into the outer darkness, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth." And Jesus said to the centurion, "You may go as you have believed. Let it be done for you." And at the very hour, his servant was healed. So there's one part that I'm going into. This is about belief and why belief is a big key thing in leadership. Another quote here I can go into is Matthew 9:18. The official's daughter, and the woman with a hemorrhage. While he was saying these things to them, an official came forward, knelt down before him, and said, "My daughter has just died, but come lay your hand on her, and she will live." Jesus rose and followed him, and so did his disciples. A woman suffering hemorrhages for 12 years came up behind him and touched the tassel on his cloak. She said to herself, "If only I can touch his cloak, I shall be cured." Jesus turned around and saw her and said, "Courage, daughter, your faith has saved you." And from that hour the woman was cured. When Jesus arrived at the official's house and saw the flute players and the crowd who were making a commotion, he said, "Go away, the girl is not dead, but sleeping." And they ridiculed him. When the crowd was put out, he came, took her by the hand, and the little girl arose, and the news of this spread throughout all the land. So those are 2 parts in there about belief, and about believing in God and believing he can do what you ask him, what he says he can do. What God says he can do, he can do. And so I'm going to go into the third quote here as far as what Jesus is saying as far as followers are concerned. And it is Matthew 8:18. The would-be followers of Jesus. When Jesus saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to cross to the other side. A scribe approached and said to him, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus answered him, "Foxes have dens and birds of the sky have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to rest his head." Another of his disciples said to him, "Lord, let me go first and bury my father." But Jesus answered him, "Follow me and let the dead bury their dead." Now I'm going to go into the footnote here that describes what this is trying to say. And it says, "Let the dead bury their dead," equates to the demand of Jesus overrides what both the Jewish and the Hellenistic world regarded as a filial obligation of the highest importance. So some of you are probably still scratching your heads and probably wondering, what the heck does this mean? Well, basically, what Jesus is talking about, know where to rest his head, means that the journey doesn't end. There is no end to where he's going to be going to. So it's a continuation. It's a life continuation to talk about what Jesus talks about and to follow in the same footsteps that he follows in, and to lead from that point. Also, the other point that they talked about, the filial obligation, it was a very important obligation to bury the dead. It still is an important obligation, but something that's almost as important or as important. It's what it is more important to do the works of Christ, following the footsteps of Jesus as far as giving and being generous and everything that Christ did in his life. So that's what it means to be a leader. That's what it means to follow him. That's what Jesus is trying to say. I hope you guys took something from this. Sorry about the little glitchy part here at the end. Something happened with the recording software, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments or whatever, go ahead, leave it in the bottom below, and I will get back to you. So have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in case I don't see you, and I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye.